In this unit, you are going to learn about pronouns, indefinite pronouns, the generic use of you, reflexive pronouns and reciprocal pronouns. We'll also look at to and enough, some special uses of some and any, and the difference between all and every. One is the pronoun that can be used when we mean any person, not a specific person. It can only be used when the group referred to includes the speaker. One should always drive carefully. It cannot be used to mean people in general, but not the speaker. In Victorian times, one felt that a woman's place was in the home. Is a mistake. In Victorian times, people felt that a woman's place was in the home. Is correct. One can be used as subject or object, and there is a possessive form, one's. One should be careful in train stations not to leave one's bags unattended, so that something nasty doesn't happen to one. The only problem with this sentence is that no one would ever say it. In fact, although one is used in formal English, it sounds rather pedantic when used in speech, where we normally use you to mean people in general. When you use you, as it has been used in the examples which follow, you means people in general, not you personally. How do you spell that? How do you get to the post office from here? You go to the traffic lights and then turn right. The reflexive pronouns are myself, yourself, himself, herself, itself, ourselves, yourselves, themselves. Oneself can be used for any person. We use reflexive pronouns when the same person is the subject and the object of the verb. It is a way to make it clear that the action is done to the subject and not to another person. She was walking along, talking to herself. When the subject and object of the verb are the same, it is normally a mistake to use an object pronoun rather than a reflexive pronoun. John hurt him means John hurt another person. I hurt me is a mistake. I hurt myself is correct. However, when we take for granted that the person who does the action is the same as the person it is done to, we do not normally use a reflexive pronoun. After breakfast, I washed, brushed my teeth, and got dressed. We would only use a reflexive pronoun with verbs for everyday actions if there were a reason to emphasize that the action were in some way unusual. Tim is only 2.5, but he can dress himself. I was so weak, I couldn't feed myself. The reflexive pronouns can also be used for emphasis. We do this to show that a specific person, not someone else, did something. In this case, the reflexive pronoun normally comes at the end of the sentence, but it can also follow the subject. Did he have the work done, or did he do it himself? It is the boys themselves who are to blame. We can also contrast two parts of something, placing the reflexive pronoun after the noun. The house itself is small, but the garden is nice and large. In sentences where there is no direct object and the subject of the verb and the object of the preposition are the same, we use a reflexive pronoun. You should be ashamed of yourself. She's always looking at herself in the mirror. They only think of themselves. But after prepositions, when there is a direct object, we use ordinary personal pronouns. Are you sure they've taken the keys with them? Nowadays, oneself is used mainly in formal language. Studies have shown that living by oneself tends to create stress. Yourself can normally replace oneself. Living by yourself is not much fun. The reciprocal pronouns each other and one another are used to indicate that people or animals do the same thing or feel the same way, or that things act in the same way. There was a terrible fight at the football stadium. People were hitting each other and throwing things at one another. There is no real difference in meaning between the two expressions. However, one another tends to be preferred when we mean people in general, rather than specific individuals. Mary and Joe love each other, or one another. Auden wrote, "We must love one another or die." Remember, however, that there is a difference in meaning between reciprocal pronouns and reflexive pronouns. People who speak to themselves are a bit strange. People who speak to one another communicate. In an earlier lesson, you studied the principal meanings of some and any when used with plural and uncountable nouns. There are some special instances when some and any can be used with a singular uncountable noun and meanings different from those you studied previously. When we use some in this way, it can indicate that what we are talking about is not known. It's too bad you can't go to the cinema this evening. Some other time, perhaps. It can indicate disapproval of what is being talked about. Some idiot left all the lights on. Or lack of interest. He moved to the States and he's living in some small town in the Midwest. Or it can indicate that something is considered special. Wow, that's some new car you've got. Any used with a singular noun or the pronoun one means it is not important which one. Take a card, any card. Have you got any idea where they are? It doesn't matter what kind of pen it is, any one will do. Any can also be used in this way with plural and uncountable nouns. We can watch any programs you want. They'll give you any information you need. Any can also be used for emphasis in front of comparative adjectives and adverbs, and with the word different in negative sentences, questions and conditional clauses. Is your mother feeling any better? Can't you drive any faster? She doesn't look any different to me. If it gets any colder in here, there will be icicles hanging from the ceiling. When we refer to a specific individual or thing, we use a personal pronoun. Uncle Sam wants you. I didn't see him. If you give me the titles of the books you need, I'll get them at the library. What a lovely park. Let's walk across it. When we refer to people or things, but do not know exactly who or which, or this is not important, we use an indefinite pronoun. I want to speak to someone about my checking account. There was nobody there. I didn't see anyone. We can get everything we need at the supermarket. Let's go for a walk somewhere. The indefinite pronouns are formed with no, some, any and every, and the endings one or body for people, thing for objects and where for places. They are all written as one word, except no one, written either as two words or with a hyphen. When referring to people, it makes no difference whether you use pronouns with one or those with body. Indefinite pronouns can be used as subjects and objects of verbs. Everybody needs somebody. Nobody knows anything. And as objects of prepositions. Give it to someone. Those which refer to people can be used as possessives, adding apostrophe s. Someone's car is parked in front of the driveway. Those which refer to things are not used in this way. Use of instead. What's the value of everything that was stolen? Note that we normally use the third person singular verb form. Everyone is upset about what happened. But third person plural pronouns. Would everybody open their books? Someone has forgotten their coat. Anyone who needs information can ask their teacher. When used with adjectives, the adjective follows the pronoun. Nothing new. Somewhere quiet. Someone clever. Compounds of no, any and some follow the same rules for some, any, no that were presented in an earlier lesson. Here is a brief review. Some is used in affirmative sentences. In questions, it can be used in offers, requests, when we expect the answer yes, and when we have a definite idea of what we want. Any is used in sentences with negative verbs, sentences whose meaning is negative, and questions. No, used to emphasize the negative aspect of what we are saying, can be placed at the beginning of a sentence and in one-word answers, but cannot be used when the verb in the sentence is negative. All and every can both be used to talk about things and people in general. All is used with a plural noun and every is used with a singular noun. All mammals are warm-blooded. Every mammal is warm-blooded. They can also be used to mean every element in a group of 3 or more. All is followed by the, this, that, these, those, or by a possessive adjective, my, your, etc. Every is followed by a noun or the pronoun one. All my friends speak English. Every friend I have speaks English. Note that when everyone is written as one word, it means every person. Everyone, written as two words, generally refers to things. We tried to book a room at a hotel, but everyone that we phoned was full. When all is used with a pronoun, we must use of. All of us, all of you, all of them. We generally prefer not to use all without a noun. All, instead of everything, should only be used when it is followed by a relative clause. We can get all we need at the supermarket. All is not normally used instead of everyone or everybody. We can use all those or all the people instead. All in my family love to cook is a mistake. Everyone in my family loves to cook. All the people in my family love to cook are correct. When all is used with a singular noun or uncountable noun, it means the entire thing. I could have danced all night. This is very different from the meaning of every in frequency expressions, which indicates that something is repeated at regular intervals. I go to bed at 11 o'clock every night. I phone my mother every 3 days. Enough means as much as necessary. Enough follows the adjective or adverb it is used with. Do you think it's warm enough to go swimming? I don't think she's studying hard enough. Enough comes before nouns. Do we have enough sugar for the cake? I have enough money to buy 1 book, but not 2. When there is an article, possessive or determiner, we use enough of. I've studied enough of this book for now. We've taken up enough of your time. Enough can also be used as a pronoun. Would you like some more potatoes? Or is that enough? Either too much or not enough. Too means more than is necessary. It can be used with adjectives and adverbs. This dress is too big. Slow down, you're working too hard. If we wish to modify too, we can use the expressions a bit, a little bit, rather, much and far, but we cannot use very, fairly, pretty or quite. Is it a little too big or much too big? You're driving far too fast. With plural nouns, we use too many. Too many children spend all their free time watching television. With uncountable nouns, we use too much. According to him, you can never have too much money. Too much and too many can also be used without nouns. She says there aren't enough chairs, but I think there are too many. I don't think there's enough salt in this soup. Really? I think there's too much. Too much can also be used as an adverb. He smokes too much. Remember, though, that too much cannot be used before an adjective or adverb. Use too instead. This coffee is too much hot. He drives too much fast are mistakes. This coffee is too hot. He drives too fast are correct. That is the end of the lesson. Now you can do the exercises on the grammar points presented in this unit.